Hello, and welcome to another episode of Health Talk from Mars. It's out of this world. In today's episode, we're going to be discussing vitamin C. Vitamin C, as we all know, is important in your immunity and also various other health issues. In a landmark book written by Dr. Irwin Stone, The Healing Factor, Vitamin C Against Disease, we're going to discuss and talk about it. So stay tuned. Okay, folks, so we're going to talk about a landmark book written by Irwin Stone, The Healing Factor, Vitamin C Against Disease, written in 1972. I first discovered this book when I was in nutrition school in 1976, and it was controversial. So, who is Irwin Stone? Irwin Stone was a biochemist who had a keen interest in nutrition, and he wrote a letter to Linus Pauling in 1966, telling Linus Pauling that he really appreciated his lecture and wanted to give him some more details on vitamin C. This piqued Dr. Linus Pauling's interest in vitamin C, and he started to do a lot of research. And in his research, he discovered that, wow, vitamin C is really important for many different conditions, and it's something that's most likely deficient in the vast majority of humans. So vitamin C was first isolated in 1928 by Albert Zent Georget, who was a research scientist back again in the early 30s, and he won a Nobel Prize in 1937 for his work mainly on vitamin C and its effect on human biology. Linus Pauling coined the term orthomolecular medicine in 1968, 2 years after that letter that was written by Dr. Irwin Stone. And what is orthomolecular medicine? Orthomolecular medicine is a term that was coined by Linus Pauling to describe the fact that large doses of certain nutrients may be required by different individuals. And this was based on the 1956 book, Biochemical Individuality, written by Roger Williams, which was also a landmark book that talked about the fact that there was a large variation in what humans required individually for various nutrients. Okay, now that you've heard a little background about this book, The Healing Factor, Vitamin C Against Disease, we're going to go through some 3 basic general principles about vitamin C. So first off, let's talk about the evolution of vitamin C. So every mammal on Earth makes vitamin C except for all primates, guinea pigs, and one species of bats, who basically need to make sure that they consume vitamin C in significant quantities. So it's believed in about 66 million years ago that there was an evolutionary mutation that developed in primates. And this mutation blocked the production of an enzyme called L-gulonolactone oxidase. L-gulonolactone oxidase is the enzyme found in the liver of almost all mammals that basically converts glucose into vitamin C, which is simply an act of geniusness. So when an animal becomes stressed and has higher levels of glucose in their blood because of overproduction of adrenal hormones, what happens is they simply convert this glucose into vitamin C. So vitamin C is stored in certain tissues in the body, especially stored in the adrenal glands, hence its relationship to stress and the prevention of stress on the body. So vitamin C is something that we make a fairly high level of. If we take a look at, let's say, a rat, and we convert that rat to 150 pounds, that's a really big rat, and we measure how much vitamin C they make. On a daily basis, they make about 4 to 6 grams a day. If you take that rat and you stress that rat to the point where they're fearful of dying, they can produce 4 and 5 times that amount of vitamin C in their liver. So we're talking 16, 20 grams of vitamin C. So this is an important concept to really understand, because in humans, and if we take a look at primates, Primates in their natural environment consume a diet extremely high in vitamin C for survival. So, amazingly enough, the requirement for vitamin C for survival, and vitamin C is an essential nutrient that we can't live without, we only need about 5 milligrams of vitamin C, which is a tiny amount. The original RDA came out years ago in the early 70s at about 60 milligrams of vitamin C. They've raised it now up to 75 to 90 milligrams for females and males, which is still a really small amount. So the Linus Pauling Institute has come out with 400 milligrams of vitamin C per day. But even that, in terms of Linus Pauling's understanding of vitamin C, is a fairly small amount. So Linus Pauling recommended in the neighborhood of anywhere from 4 to 10 grams of vitamin C a day, depending upon your level of stress and if you have any type of medical condition. So let's go through a few medical conditions that may be related to vitamin C and optimal amounts of vitamin C in your diet and or through supplementation. So I wanted to address the issue of subclinical scurvy. So outright scurvy we don't really see that in the United States and other industrialized nations. But what we see is a subclinical type of scurvy. So originally in 1747, James Lind did his famous study where he took 12 sailors that were dying of scurvy and he cured in a very rapid period of time, like 1 to 3 days, these people that were dying of scurvy. And scurvy, the hallmark symptoms are bleeding gums, breakdown of connective tissue, loss of differentiation of cells, which is classic of cancer. They lose their ability to differentiate themselves. So when we look at subclinical scurvy, we're looking at conditions such as poor wound healing would be a good example, or low back pain where the connective tissue has gotten weakened, or we look at areas in the body that have been injured, such as a torn meniscus, or such as a torn ligament or tendon. So all these conditions are what we would classify as subclinical scorbutic, which means that maybe there's not optimal levels of vitamin C in the body to prevent these types of injuries, or even in cancer, which we mentioned previously. So subclinical scurvy is a real phenomenon, and it's something that Dr. Irwin Stone goes into great detail in his book, and so you can read up on that for sure. So let's look at bacterial and viral infections. So both bacterial and viral infections are a stress on the body and require a strong and robust immune response. What consists of optimal levels of vitamin C? So we know that when you are in the middle of a viral or bacterial infection, the level of vitamin C that you can tolerate, and let's talk about tolerating vitamin C. Vitamin C will cause usually a pretty strong diarrhea reaction in the body when you start to get over 6 to 8 grams of vitamin C. When you have an infection, that tolerance goes up significantly, and some people can tolerate 50, 60, even 70 grams of vitamin C without getting diarrhea. So what does that mean? To me, it means that vitamin C during a period of stress and infection, the requirements go up significantly. So let's look at another condition. That would be cancer. What effect does vitamin C have on cancer? Well, we know in high doses of vitamin C can actually act as an agent to kill cancer cells. So that requires fairly high levels of vitamin C. So when we take a look at vitamin C, 25 grams of vitamin C a day, usually that's something that's considered immune stimulating. That means that the body's immune system becomes more active. Vitamin C can be administered in larger doses when given intravenously. So intravenously, you could administer sometimes as high as 100 to 150 grams of vitamin C. That's a lot of vitamin C. That requires, obviously, medical supervision. You don't want to take that much vitamin C intravenously without being evaluated. There is an enzyme that can be tested, and this enzyme is a special enzyme that if you don't have enough of this enzyme, called glucose 6-phosphate dehydrogenase, large doses of vitamin C can act as a hemolytic agent. That means that your red blood cells can break down, and that can be something of an emergency situation. So before doing intravenous vitamin C at high levels, and that would be greater than 20 grams of vitamin C, definitely get checked out to do the glucose 6-phosphate dehydrogenase enzyme. It's a simple test and it's inexpensive. And once you know your value, you'll know for the rest of your life, because people that are deficient in this enzyme basically have this immune defect you should know about if you're going to use a large dose of vitamin C. So what other conditions are associated with a lack of vitamin C? Well, vitamin C, very interesting enough, is concentrated in certain organ systems, one of which is the adrenal glands we talked about before. So if you're in a stress situation, vitamin C is going to get depleted from your adrenal glands. The adrenal glands produce cortisol, DHEA, norepinephrine, and norepinephrine. So these are hormones vital for cellular communication, important for your brain, but also, again, important for generating a proper response from the immune system. So vitamin C, as mentioned, not only concentrated in the immune system in the adrenal glands, but also concentrated in your blood vessels. So what we have found is that in areas where there's a lot of stress in blood vessels, and that would be areas where the blood vessels bifurcate. So there's various areas in the body where what we see is that the stress of the blood flow going against the arterial wall, and those are bifurcated sites, that's where the damage takes place, physical damage from the blood flow, causing turbulence of the blood and damaging the epithelial cells. If we measure those areas in vitamin C, we see that the vitamin C is significantly deficient from other blood vessel areas. So we know that people that are susceptible to developing plaques, arterial atherosclerotic plaques, they do require higher levels of vitamin C in those tissues. Let's look at another condition. That would be diabetes. So diabetes is a situation where we have a very significantly increased amount of glycosylation going on. Glycosylation is a process by which the body is generating certain types of oxidized carbohydrates and proteins. So in the blood vessels, especially the capillaries, glycosylation causes a gumming up of those endothelial cells, epithelial cells. So what happens is, in a small capillary, a red blood cell can only fit one red blood cell into this capillary, and whereby it has to fold up and then releases oxygen. When glycosylation happens, what happens is the red blood cell can't fit into that little capillary, and as a result, oxygen doesn't get delivered to the tissue that capillary is supposed to be delivering, and as a result, that tissue dies. So this is what happens in diabetes, is that you have a lack of oxygen and blood flow into various tissues. This is one of the reasons why diabetics don't heal very well, because they're not getting proper blood circulation into those tissues. What vitamin C does is, one, it protects those insulin receptors that's responsible for binding insulin and allowing the glucose to go into the cell, whereby it's not causing a great deal of glycosylation. So glycosylation, again, is a process of damaging the blood vessels due to high levels of sugar, similar to what you would see in a caramelization reaction in food science. So that would be like a cinnamon roll or caramelized candies. So that happens microscopically in the body, and it's called glycosylation. Vitamin C acts to protect against this glycosylation reaction and also to enhance the binding of insulin onto the insulin receptors. We're going to talk about stress. So we know that vitamin C is a particular nutrient that's stored in the adrenal glands. But also what's really important is vitamin C is a cofactor for the production of adrenal hormones. That would be cortisol and norepinephrine and epinephrine. So these are hormones that are critically important with regards to protecting the body against stress. So we want to make sure we produce enough of these hormones and have the ability to do so at the right time. Inability to produce these hormones at the right time results in fatigue, immune system degeneration, and also glycosylation of tissues. So we know that vitamin C also is involved in mental health. So we know that norepinephrine and epinephrine are both involved in making sure that you have proper mood. So people that have symptoms of depression, fatigue, irritability, all of these people usually have less than ideal levels of norepinephrine and epinephrine. Vitamin C is responsible for generating proper levels of these hormones. Vitamin C is also, lastly, I want to talk about connective tissue. So vitamin C is critical for the production of various types of proteins that are involved in making connective tissue. So if you have any type of injury, let's say you had surgery, or let's say you sprained an ankle or a knee, or you tore ligaments, vitamin C is critical to heal those connective tissues. And vitamin C in optimal amounts will greatly speed healing. So if you know that you're going to have surgery for a particular injury, it's critical that you get optimal levels of vitamin C in those tissues. And that would be through supplementation or through eating a proper diet. But really, if you're going to have an operation and surgery, it's critical that you take optimal levels of vitamin C to prepare the body for making sure that it's going to produce that connective tissue healing in optimal levels. Okay, I want to address the issue of what is the optimal level of vitamin C. Well, you can definitely argue from an evolutionary standpoint, we need to be getting much more vitamin C than what we are currently consuming. So that means that most likely supplementation is going to be really important. However, you can get much higher levels than what the average person gets by making sure you're consuming enough in the way of fruits and vegetables. Acerola berries classically have the highest level of vitamin C, but vitamin C is, of course, found in citrus fruits and various other vegetables such as red peppers and such. But to get these higher doses of vitamin C, really it is necessary to supplement a certain level of vitamin C through optimal supplementation. So that means that you should look on your shelf and your vitamin supplements, making sure that you're consuming at least 1 to 3 grams of vitamin C on a daily basis. And so there's a couple of supplements that I've created. One of them is OxyQuench Ultra, which is an antioxidant formula that has a significant amount of vitamin C in there, together with other antioxidant nutrients found in plants and also through minerals. So a good multivitamin is going to have a significant amount of vitamin C in there. And a significant amount means that you're going to need to get, again, at least anywhere from 500 milligrams to 1,000 milligrams a day from your multivitamin. A good multivitamin, which I recommend, I created one a number of years ago called Omnivite that has a significant amount of vitamin C in there. So most multivitamins don't have very much vitamin C, and that's because vitamin C actually takes up a significant amount of space in the tablet or capsule. So check your label and see if you're getting at least 1 to 2 or more grams of vitamin C from your supplements. And, to get this every day is going to greatly enhance your immune system, your ability to heal, protection against cancer, protection against cardiovascular disease and diabetes, and the sequelae of diabetes, and also to support your ability to withstand stress. So we know that stress is a major contributory factor to all disease. So check out Irwin Stone's book, The Healing Factor, Vitamin C Against Disease, as he presents a number of other medical conditions in there that you might find really interesting with regards to the effect that vitamin C has on them. If you're looking for a complete vitamin C supplement, I have 2 of them that I formulated, OmniVite and OxyQuench Ultra, that are available on my website, marznutrition.net. So thank you for joining another episode of Health Talk from Marz. It's out of this world, and I'll see you next time.